Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Recently I was on my computer surfing the internet and I came across something interesting. It was an article talking about an easy way to detail up one of these. Yes, this is a Hornby Teak produced from the late 90s all the way through the 2000s, and it is something that, whilst it says it is an LNER teak, it doesn't really look like an LNER teak, because they look like that, or like that. None of which look quite like this. In fact, you'll notice that there are totally different shades, and I appreciate trying to get wood in plastic is a difficult thing to do, and on the modern coaches they've done it quite well. But these ones, which are packaged with all kinds of things, particularly a Flying Scotsman set, so most of us probably have one of these kicking around, well, they don't really cut the mustard, do they? And we'll all agree that this looks very different to that. Now, this could be that the teaks in preservation have had layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of varnish applied over the top of the wood to try and keep it in situ, although by now there's been a lot of that wood replaced, and we'll be honest, the modern Hornby teaks, well, they do actually look wooden, whereas these, well, they don't. And I do appreciate the fact that trying to get plastic to look like wood is a bit of a challenge. But the article that I saw happened to have a very easy fix to make this look a bit, well, better. And that was, you go and get yourself one of these, which is a furniture touch-up pen. This one is oak, which is what the article said it would use, and you'll draw over the top of your coach with this very pen, and that will make it look nice, varnished and proper woody. And as this was but a few quid off a well-known bidding website, I thought, well, I've got like 12 of these teaks. What's the worst that could happen? So we're going to see just if it is actually as good as it was, or if I have been fooled by this article. So the first stage with this, in order to release the body, is we need to pop it off its wheels. And that is relatively straightforward. We just lift and pull. And again on this one, grab and pull. I don't want to do this too many times because you see they're on these little plastic tabs which will only take it so many times. And now that we've released the bogies that were in the way, you can see there's a little tab just there and a little tab just there. So these two are what holds the body itself onto the frame, and I want to get this off and remove the glazing here. To release the body, you'll need a pair of pliers to squeeze the two tabs and then at the same time push the running board away, like so. So we have to do the same just with this one here. Clips released, we can pull the innards out of the body. Next, we can slide the ends out, and that leaves us with one rather bare looking coach body. Next, we grab our pen. Let's see what happens.
And I'll be honest, at this point I was both quite sceptical about just how much of an effect that this pen could have on my coach, and also absolutely terrified that I was going to ruin this coach beyond all repair. My technique was fairly simple. It was just advanced colouring in, although I didn't even need to stay within the lines. Just try and get an even coat. My biggest issue I had was occasionally you'd have a line of the liquid, the ink I suppose, running across the coach. And so trying to get this all together was a bit more of a challenge. But this was surprisingly easy, and I did both sides in not much time at all.
Well, I'll be honest, whilst it doesn't look as nice or as dark as the one I saw online, it's definitely a massive improvement on how it was. Now, I'm hoping that with a couple of extra coats, maybe I'll be able to bring that colour down a bit more and make it look a bit more realistic. However, it's certainly good enough for me to try and persevere and get on with the other side. On this side, it's gone on a lot easier because the surfaces are a lot flatter. I still feel I might need a second coat, but I'm now going to do the end pieces to the coach,
which are comparatively very easy. There's not too much detail on them to interrupt your strokes with the pen, and also they're rather small.
And whilst that's drying, let's have a look at the carriage interior. If we push in here, we should be able to pull off the glazing like so. One thing about model railway carriages is they can look lovely, but if you don't have any people in them, there's something missing. So let's have a look in my drawer for some people who are sitting down who can populate our coach.
It turned out that I had a good number of the sitting down people. So I went and got my old friend the super glue and a wire so that I wouldn't stick my fingers together when applying the glue to their backsides, and could then place them sitting down inside the carriage, which was very exciting.
Before you get too carried away, it's normally a good idea to start allocating people to different compartments so you know how many people you're going to have in each one.
And with my people allocated to their individual compartments, I could begin the installation process and was feeling quite chuffed at what a difference this would make.
Then I realised I should probably do something about the interior, which would be probably wood-coloured rather than cream.
Now, I will admit that this was a nice idea, but very poorly implemented. It still looks better than the cream, but it's not my finest work.
And what about the final touch of a travelling ticket inspector coming to open the door? But whilst everything dries, we'll just take a paintbrush and get rid of the dust along here. So we'll take this and drop it back onto the frames. And then we can replace the glazing, which goes over the top and clicks in like that. Then we slide that back in and that one back in. Can we bring this towards that? And then it's time to place this back over the top, taking care to make sure it is the right way around, so the big windows go the way of the corridor.
And then just clip it back together again.
That looks a lot better with people inside it. It's a tiny detail, but it's a nice detail. And then it's time to pop it back on its bogies. We line that up and go. And once you've got it all back together again, you're going to need a suitable locomotive to haul it. And if you're asking, Lawrie, is a 9F really an appropriate choice to be hauling teaks? The answer is yes. In preservation on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, the 9F is frequently seen out with the teaks, and on the North Norfolk Railway, Black Prince itself occasionally headed out with the quad set, which of course are a teaked-bodied coach. So in preservation, this is very much a suitable set to be able to model. And if you don't want Black Prince for whatever reason, TMC also offer a renumbering service, so you can buy this at its discounted, highly competitive price and then get it transformed into a locomotive of your choosing, which means why just buy one? Buy 2 or 3 and have a fleet of 9Fs, all with different running numbers, which is obviously the logical thing to do here. It really is a stunning model and it captures the power and size of the 9Fs, and I can't wait to have this one running out on our large modular layout because I know it's going to be amazing. If you are going to go check out the amazing range of models that TMC have on their website, please use the affiliate link in the video description because it really helps us out, and go browse the amazing collection of models over at TMC and support the guys who are supporting the channel. And maybe go treat yourself to a 9F because it's clinically proven that 9Fs help reduce the January blues. And these magnificent models, which really capture the size and power of the full-size engines, are now low in stock. So if you want to get yourself a 9F with over £100 off, now's the time to act, because when they're gone, and this amazing deal won't be repeated. Of course, the big question is, how does it look when compared to an unweathered coach? And there is a dramatic difference. The coach that's had the pen applied to it looks a lot more wooden. The darker shade just makes it look a bit more real, and you really notice how plasticky the other one is in comparison. Side by side, you can really tell. Overall, I'm actually really happy with how these things have turned out. It was remarkably easy to do, and obviously putting the figures in has made a massive difference to how the coach looks. And it does look significantly more wooden. However, I'm wondering what another coat will do to it. So let's disassemble it and do it all again.
So pop the bogies off, squeeze those retaining tabs and separate the body from the chassis, move the chassis somewhere safe, and then colour it all in.
And now we can place that back over the top.
Put it back onto its bogies, and what a difference it has made with another coat.
That has worked enough for me to call this a complete success. Now obviously this is not to the same standard as a new Hornby coach, which is far superior. However, if you have one of these older teaks kicking around, which many of us do, this pen was literally a couple of quid and it has really turned this to a next level coach. I'm so pleased with it. I'm going to start with the rest of mine to bring them all up to the same standard.
And so I rolled in the other 2 teaks that had come as part of this set, popped off the bogies from both carriages, and then went to town on those stupid little tabs so I could pull the body off from the chassis. And then it was time for some more advanced colouring in. This technique was getting easier with every coach that I worked on. I was getting more confident, less afraid of making mistakes, and frankly, it really is easy. You don't have to be too careful with anything, avoiding getting the pen on the roof because it will stain and is quite difficult to remove, but the rest of it is just colour it in, slap it on, and the difference is quite amazing. And having completed one and knowing the effect that this colouring in would have on the coach, it made the process a lot more exciting. Having applied the first coat, I reassembled the coaches to keep all of their components together, put them back on the wheels and lined them all up, and was genuinely really proud of myself.
A few days have passed and I've given the coaches another coat with this, the the magic pen, and now with several coats on, I think they're looking absolutely superb. I've also taken the opportunity to do a bit more detailing on the inside of the other two coaches. I've given them a coat of paint and then a wash over the top to help mute those colours down. I haven't done a very good job of it, but I don't think it will matter because you won't really see inside the coach. And I went for red for the third class seating and blue for the first class seating, as I believe was the way of the LNER. And I'm now ready to add some people to complete the look of my modified and detailed coaches. So I went onto a well-known auction website and managed to find 50 people for £10 and 100 people for about £7. And I can tell you that the 100 people for £7 was a bit of a mistake because they are terrible. Even for the restricted viewing of looking inside a coach, these ones will need some work before they're suitable to go into it. These ones though, the 50 figures, they'll need a wash to go in, and then that will complete my modified coaches, something that I'm going to be really proud of because I think these have come together really well.
Giving the better figures that I'd purchased a wash helped bring out some of the detail on them and make them look a bit better, and then all I had to do was glue them in place inside the coaches, which was harder than it looks because it turns out that some of the sitting figures don't like sitting. And after a lot of fiddling, I'd managed to populate both of my coaches and was feeling rather proud of myself and amazed at the difference that adding figures can make. Then all I had to do was reassemble the coaches. These, by this point, have had 3 or 4 layers of colouring in applied to them, and it really does make a difference putting that many layers on, and I am absolutely blown away by how good they look compared to how they started.
So it turns out that sometimes the stuff you see on the internet is actually worth paying attention to. Who'd have thunk it, eh? And I can't wait to see these things out on our modular layout. Dates of the shows we're going to be going to this year will be announced in the not too distant future, so we hope to see you at some of the exhibitions we're going to. And of course, a massive great thank you to our sponsor TMC, and go check out their website, use the affiliate link in the video description because it helps the channel out, and go buy yourself something, including one of those very, very nice 9Fs with a load of money off. So with that, thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these and if it was worth the effort of using this pen. If you have enjoyed this, how about clicking somewhere over there for some of the misadventures of us at the NEC with our modular, down there for building the modular, or somewhere else for some other model railway goodness. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to go get some varnish because I think a coat of varnish would just make these things absolutely pop. Ta-da!